All right, people. I told you I was going to be going live. This is it right here. I've been looking to find out what's going on, and we'll get some people in the room here. I'm going to have a salad. I want to chill out, and y'all let me know what's going on because I don't know anymore. I really don't. It's gotten to the point where they sound like they're going to close up states. They sound like they're going to do something, and they don't. I know they done closed the schools. I know they done made restaurants where, you know, seems like all the restaurants are drive-through only. Where does that leave somebody in an 18-wheeler, right? If you're in an 18-wheeler, let me know how annoying that is to you. They done closed up the damn restaurants where it's drive-through only. You're in an 18-wheeler, you can't drive through it. I got a chicken from Walmart on the dash, right? That's what I'm doing. And let me know if you can even hear me. Let me know if the audio is good, but I need your intel. Because at this point, I'm eating chicken out of a bag off the top of my dash. I got a Ziploc bag full of lettuce that I was going to eat right out of the bag, but I found a bowl I could trust. You know, it's like that. We're cleaning our hands 15 times, alcohol. But I got a cooler with ice. I got some, okay, you hear it good. I got a cooler with ice. I got water in it. I got some some Caesar dressing and some salad toppings and damn some lettuce and a chicken on the dash. So I'm fixing to eat some chicken. I needed a break. Been a long day. Trying to get stuff knocked out. And this is where I'm at in my mind. Where I'm coming from is this. I want to know if you've heard of any states that have said trucks can't come through here unless they got special authorized loads from, the government with a note from your mom and the FDA seal of approval, and you got to have it, approved from whatever kind of agency that it don't have whatever them moths are, the damn lanternflies and no ants and whatever kind of hoop you have to jump through just to haul some freight, and that's the only thing going on. I'd like for you people to tell me, or if you have businesses, because here's the thing. We can't haul freight if there's no freight to haul. So if businesses are closing, that affects us because we ain't hauling either parts going in or finished product coming out. And containers ain't hitting on shit. They know it. Everybody, look, you ain't heard a peep of people talking about, I'm making a killing hauling containers out of the port of whatever and coming from China. You ain't heard nothing because it ain't happening. And they're looking for other stuff to do. So how it's affecting us, it's ripping stuff apart. And the thing is, if this virus is going to be with us forever, that's a problem. I get they've got some kind of a possible treatment with a malaria drug. I do understand these things. However, where I'm at on it is, let's say you get through the first wave. This first wave is going to last 3 to 6 months. The second wave will already be introducing itself. China's done lied and they done got caught because everybody cut off their cell phones. Possibly 21 million people died over there. Now, to them, that's nothing. Over here, that's kind of bad. Anybody dying is bad, but we can't afford to hit like that. And if the truckers get sick, people, you get nothing. Because they're not going to drop it to where, hey, let's get some 14-year-olds behind a wheel of an 18-wheeler. There's too much regulation. Too much stuff in the way. Oh, what's up, JD? I'm in a secret undisclosed location, bro. But I'm safe, parked safe. Now, I will say this too. Walmart, they did have, well, I'm just asking you. You the man, JD. You got all the links, probably known to man about what's closing, what's going on. Let us know what's closing. Let us know what states you've heard about that says a trucker maybe can or can't go through or something like that. Louisiana's talking about having everybody stop movement and stuff. And it sounded like it was truckers, but then he wanted to go into, well, because we need food and this. But he didn't want to say for everybody hauling general freight. So if they close, yeah, appreciate it. So you go do that and come on back. So if Louisiana shuts down all kinds of stuff and they don't have stuff coming out of Louisiana, that is a key point in shipping east to west, north to south. if nothing's going on in Louisiana, truckers will be stuck there with no freight to haul. And so it really don't matter if you shut down trucking. You shut down the companies, you shut down trucking. And if you shut down trucking for 3 days, some people have said 5, but 3 days, this country stops. This will be a shutdown if it becomes so that there's no freight to haul. I'm not checking freight boards at this moment. I ain't been in on that. I feel like I've been out of the loop, okay? I was running some air freight. It was regular enough. I'll see what I'm doing next, but I'll tell you, where I'm at in my head is I think everything's going to hell in a handbasket. I don't think there's going to be nothing left to haul. And if all they've got is special magical loads that are all toilet paper all the time or whatever, I'm sure that makes the Charmin Bears happy, right? But that ain't going to take care of all truckers. And how are you going to quantify if you got a truck payment and you're trying to make a payment? I mean, are they going to make that payment too? Because if they're giving you $1,500 a month, that's not going to make it the truck payment, much less make you some money for your pocket. Now, they did say, what I heard was, what's up, Shannon? Checking gas by now, getting more info. Yeah, I heard a few things. I heard that Russia, a couple weeks ago, what happened was Iran and Iraq were asked by OPEC to stop making oil, just to stop pumping out of the ground to normalize prices. Prices going down, 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 right? And then what happened was Russia, they said no. Iraq said no. Iran said no, and Russia said, well, hell, we're going to keep making, pumping oil too. So they have a little gas war going on among all this shit. So with that gas war going on, they are making fuel prices go down, which is good, but we're not hauling, and there's so little demand. We're going to be at 99 cents a gallon, people. That's where we're going to be. So, other than that going on, and all the people in Italy dying, and the Chinese are the ones that brought it there. Let's see here. Hold on a second. I'm checking the comments. Like I said, I'm just trying to figure stuff out and have a salad. Because for real, TripAdvisor, use both apps, and Google Maps. Yeah. So what I'm trying to figure out is, fuel prices are going to be low. There's no freight to haul. And even if they talk about it bouncing back or whatever, okay. Well, a lot of companies are going out of business and never coming back. Now, CVS just announced they're going to hire, I think they said something like, man, I don't know how many people they're going to hire. 50,000 or more. It was a lot. CVS. I just saw the ad for it. And then CNN had a video about it. Well, I think it's because they're going to need to be giving out medicine, and they know it. Now, people being sick, presenting themselves to you, I'm going to go ahead and give you a heads up. If you got a house and you ain't got a screen door that's glass, why do you think old people have them? Because if somebody comes to your front door, let me tell you, in the 1918 flu, that's how the Spanish flu got around, because even if you didn't go nowhere, the mailman brought it to you. So it's not just in your mailbox. Let's say you got a special delivery. You got UPS. That's a part of your contact tree. You got Amazon coming to your house. That's a part of your contact tree. You better you better go ahead and build you a glass door on the front of your house, so that they don't present themselves, and then all of a sudden you just open the door and woof, you got a whiff of that, and then you got it. It's like a vapor, people. It's like the measles. It transmits. And they even let it out that it was like a 10. There was a guy, I'll put the news report up. He said, well, this is a war and we're going to bring it down. And the way we're going to do it is we're going to bring it from a 10 down to a 2. They know it's probably a RO of a 10 by all the people that are presenting themselves and ain't being tested, but they're counting them. You know, they got counters. They've got to have a back door. Just like the Chinese and all them have a secret menu of all that nasty stuff they make in the back that don't nobody else, want to see on the menu, but that they'll serve to their people if they want it. Well, I'm sure that there's a whole nother menu, a secret menu that shows real numbers in the U.S. and every other country. I'm sure that somebody has real numbers, and the real numbers cannot be good. because they're scared. They're scared. They're running scared. They don't know what the hell to do. And honestly, like I said, this is going to spread because they went to beaches. They've got these idiots down there drunk talking about, I'm going to party if I'm going to get it anyway or whatever. And they may not show symptoms, but a lot of them have and come back and tested positive. And so they know it was spread down there. Then they come back and their grandparents are going to die and their parents are going to die. Okay. The children not showing symptoms. So what happens when they open schools back up and they're going back to college and all that? And then they bring it home anyway, because none of them showing symptoms, or most of them ain't. And then they get it into college, and then it's the second wave, or even a mutated form of this virus. We got issues, people. But I really want to know what's going on with shutdown trucking. I'm hoping that JD and a few of y'all others that are keyboard warriors that go on the internet, maybe a little bit better than I am about finding intel, that can tell me, are there any states that are saying we're not open for business? Like, I know Washington's got some serious issues, and I know that they've got people that are dying like crazy in especially the rest homes. And this stuff, let me tell you, when you get so-called better, you will lose 20% of your lung function. They're not going to work anymore. Your lungs will be damaged for the rest of your life from that first wave. What about when the second wave hits you? If it starts killing more of your lungs, you're going to what, go 50? Now, I done told that story a long time ago. A friend of mine that taught me how to do brakes, he was cleaning mobile home. He was cleaning one of them water homes. Golly, I can't even think about it. Houseboats. Cleaning houseboats and stripping the wax off of them and then re-waxing them if they wanted them to, or at least just cleaning them off. And they were using this spray, a chemical called methyl ethyl ketone. Now, the reason he told me, he said, never forget that, methyl ethyl ketone, and I haven't. It's in a certain kind of cleaner, not in brake cleaner. It's worse than that, but you don't breathe that in anyway. Anytime you're messing with a chemical, mask up, people. You got to do something for yourself, and safety glasses so don't sprain your eyes. If you're under a car, safety glasses under a truck. But what I'm saying is, he told me, he made me remember methyl ethyl ketone. He made me say it 4 or 5 times, and I'll never forget it. And he told me that he had one lung that was half working, and the other one was already completely dead. He's dead now. I'm sure of it. He was 21 years old. This is years back. He told me they had only given him a couple more months to live. He taught me how to do brakes on cars so I could have a second job, and I worked with him there. And I did all the physical stuff and taking tires off, and it helped him to not have to exert himself and be like worn out and wiped out at the end of the day. He was in a band. I think he played bass or something. The point is this. Super nice guy, died early. Why? Lung failure. Well, what they're doing now, this disease will cause you to lose 20% of your lung function. So you're going to be like an asthmatic. You're going to be taking medicines like inhalers and stuff, right? Every once in a while you get a little overworked. You have to do that inhaler to open up your bronchial tubes and get you breathing, because there's no other way you're going to get enough oxygen in your body if you lost 20% of your lung function. You're not going to be running marathons. You're not going to be unloading trucks. You're not going to be, there's a lot you ain't going to be doing. You ain't going to be working as many hours as you used to. So your lungs are going to be burnt for the rest of your life. And that life might be shortened because when you get older and you're short of breath, you're going to die. So it puts a jelly in your lungs too, okay? And this is different than SARS-1. It's even worse. So what I'm saying is, like I said, I want to know if this is going to be forever. I know it's going to be in the water supply. I done talked about that. I'll get into that while JD's looking for intel. Okay, here's how it works. The septic system in your city has got concrete, a concrete circle at the bottom with a pipe that goes in one side and out the other. Okay. Then there's a riser that's just a ring, but there's a tar seal. So that's a good seal. Then the next one might be another riser, however high up they need to get it, for however deep they had to put it in the ground for it to have fall at a certain degree, for it to get to the city, septic, the treatment plant. Okay, well, that's a good system. However, most of your cities were built hundreds of years ago before they had those concrete risers and those concrete bottoms. So they used brick. And the concrete in that brick was crumbling back when they made it. It was never good. And they never made it watertight. So every time it rains, just like how the rain in Tennessee will hit the ground and go down to the bedrock. And then if you have a well in Georgia or Alabama, the water hit the ground in Tennessee, but it gets to your well on the bedrock down there, in those states. Well, a little bit of trickling of water over here and over there, it all adds up. It all goes into those older brick risers and brick manholes. And every time it rains, it floods every septic system, every treatment plant, sewage treatment plant in the United States. All of them. And they don't know what to do. And what do? They got to do something with the water, and they can't treat it. They're overwhelmed with it. They dump it in the rivers. If you don't believe me, there's rivers that stink like that at nighttime, and you can ride over them, and they smell like mess. Why? Because they're dumping it in there because they can't treat it, and it's too much water. Well, they think, it's okay, it'll be diluted. Well, here's the problem. If it's got coronavirus in it, that RNA strand can't be killed by bleach. So when they go to treat that water to drink it, it'll be treated, but it'll still have coronavirus in it. So it'll be the same situation as Mexico. Mexico doesn't have a good treatment system for treating their water, and it does not kill the bacteria. There's a bacteria that lives in it, and it lives in the people that drink it. Now, those people come up here and they drink our chlorinated water, and it makes them sick. It gets into their body and it does actually kill that microorganism in their body because there's enough chlorine or chloride, whatever you call it, left in the water to make a person from Mexico sick when they get up here. Because it's curing them is what it's doing. It's killing the parasite in them, the bacteria. Well, in that same way, when people go to Mexico, they say, don't drink the water, because it'll make you mess and everything else. You'll get sick down there. Then you'll get sick again when you come back up here and you drink chlorinated water because it's going to kill it, okay? It's like a medicine in a way, water is, with chlorine in it. Well, Mexico's always had that problem. They see it's even in the ice and any amount of water, whatever. Guess what? You will get it if you go down there and mess around drinking their water. If you don't drink beer straight out the bottle and you're drinking their water, you will get that. Well, it'll affect you. It don't bother them much because they grew up on it. And if they come up here, they get sick because it cures them. It's going to be like that, people. This corona is going to be in the water. This coronavirus will be in the water. And it'll be there forever. I've already put up the videos where it's killing fish over there, and the military was breaking fishing poles and throwing them in the water and telling people get out of here. That's the Chinese military on video breaking their fishing poles into 100 pieces or as many as they could and throwing it in the water and telling the people get out of here and don't come back. And the fish are jumping out of the water at some of the reservoirs. You can go up next to the reservoir where they used to fish, and the fish are jumping out of the water. That's what's going to happen in Italy. Right now, they stopped manufacturing in Italy, right? They stopped dumping water into the bay. And it's all nasty chemicals. The fish came back. The dolphins came back. There's dolphins swimming right up to the channels and stuff, right? Okay. What's going to happen is, as soon as that coronavirus gets in the water, or the peroxide that they wash it down with, either way, those dolphins are going to be jumping up on the pier. They're going to be trying to beach and kill themselves, commit suicide. So are the fish. We're not going to have drinkable water after this unless it's a watershed or an aquifer that's upstream in a mountain untouched from this, that is not downstream of a septic system. That's what we're looking at, people. So forget about water. Okay, you're going to get it regardless. So then it's going to kill 20% of your lungs, and let's just go further. We've got a problem that's almost a crisis with our planting and harvesting. Just earlier this year, end of last year, I guess you call it. Last year, and I've still talked to them earlier this year. Talking to farmers that are growing hay, and they're saying because of the rain. There's been so much rain, and then there was a drought before that, into last year. They've grown something like a third of what they normally grew, and they couldn't harvest but like a third of what they normally do, and they couldn't even supply their own customers, much less grow any. like as a business. So there's a problem with all crops, corn, all kinds of stuff. There's one country buying corn from another because they're failed, and there's a bunch of locusts that have done attacked China and went across from, oh man, I don't know all the countries. They're just now going to China. China's putting ducks out to eat them. They ain't gonna be able to eat all those. It's a plague of locusts. It's a lot, and so they're eating up all the crops. We're going to have a food supply problem. If you don't plant a garden at your home, people, you are doing yourself a disservice. Just like in that other pandemic, too, the 1918 one, that woman said that her dad planted a quarter of an acre of sweet potatoes and fed the whole town. It's a small town, but even if they were tired and wore out and sick, they could take a sweet potato, and they already had the fire going in the wood stove, so they could throw it in there, bake it, and they'd have something to eat. And it didn't take him much effort. So he kept the whole town alive because he was smart enough to plant them. I'm planting some. I'm planting a bunch, more than I need. We will see what happens. But you better buy box potatoes while they're still getting on the shelves. They just replenished at some of these Walmarts. Toilet paper. I call them box potatoes. It's dehydrated potatoes. Okay. That's all I ever knew. Is making a lot of that because honestly, it's easy. It's so easy to do, and a lot of people got used to it, and that's what I was taught. I'll tell you though, I mean, you could take a potato, mash it up, but I'll tell you, having the seed right now is going to be another thing because there's a lot of planters right now, people who plant, whether they have a big garden or small, that are having a hard time buying seed. You better save your seed from your tomatoes too. You know, rinse that jelly-like mess off of them, let them soak and get that stuff off, then let them dry on a paper towel. You have about 100 seed. Listen, people, and grow that in potting soil, not topsoil and dirt and stuff. You got to buy the potting soil or make your own with styrofoam and stuff that they do, so it doesn't get too hard and kill it as soon as it starts growing leaves. But what I'm saying, you can grow them in Dixie cups. But what I'm saying is, if you don't have seed right now, you may have a hard time very soon getting seed because the manufacturers that sell seed are closing up. So when they're closed, you can't buy seed. So whatever's on the shelf right now, as far as shelf seed right now at Walmart, y'all better tear that up. If you're going to have a garden, you better get you some, and you better save the seeds that come out of your tomatoes so that you can replant next year. And y'all think I'm playing. When the truckers are sick, and a lot of us are older, and when we can't bring it to you, and we got 20% lung function, and we're like, piss on this, we're going to do something different, or for whatever reason that, we can't do it anymore, because we got to take DOT physicals too. A lot of these guys are already on the edge, and if it kills them, because it's killing a high number of people who are a little overweight, people who, they call it a pre-existing condition. I'm calling it the human condition, because everybody I know has got some kind of weight. But it's hard to take a full breath when you got a little bit of fat up here. Okay? Well, it's like that. It's worse when you got this COVID, whatever, is Chinese bioweapon killing you. And then when you got 20% less lung function, you are not trying to be driving, working a 14-hour clock, and man, forget it. I know a guy, and I was going to call him. I got his number. I'm going to do a live with him, and he'll tell you he had a coronavirus that's the older one about 19 years ago. I asked him if he was sure it wasn't 17. It's 19 years ago. Okay, that's Scooter. He's a truck driver. He was telling me how he has to keep antibiotics, something else in his truck. He's got to keep stuff in his truck, and they check on him every day. They call him. He's got people that worry about him. Hey, you still alive? Everything good? He's doing it. But he's got, man, I'm going to let him tell you about his situation, what kind of after effects. But, it put a place on his heart. He said it's about the size of your fingernail, and it damaged his heart. This thing here does liver damage, all kinds of, it probably damages your heart too, but it definitely decreases your lung function by 20%. So we're up against a formidable foe, And I'm not trying to get it at all. I don't think any trucker out there can afford to get it, because think of all the time you're going to be out of work. Man, even if they don't take your houses and stuff because they say they're not going to, foreclose on anybody, you still won't have food, whatever. Man, I don't even want to know what to think, because they're saying something like, people are saying like 18 months is how long, and that's just the first wave, I guess. If it takes 18 months or even worse, forget about the 18-month thing. Just think about it. If you're sick with this mess for the 40 or 50 days that Wuhan nurse was, right? They're doing a vlog on it every day, and look at how many days. And she had somebody take care of her, and he was suiting up and stuff, and he got it anyway, but it wasn't as bad as her. But he's going to get it worse next, because it does this thing where you got like a few days where you got it and it's bad. Then you have this thing where you're good for a few days and you think you're over it, and then it hits you harder than ever, and then you wind up in the hospital on a ventilator. And they're saying in Italy alone, they're saying they only have a few 100,000 ventilators for like millions of people. In the United States, we got the same problem, maybe even worse. There's only X amount of ventilators, and there's way more people than could get hooked up on them. So people are going to die because they can't get good health care, right? That's simple math. If you need a ventilator to live and you're not on a ventilator, you will die. Look at what happened to the guy that was on oxygen, and he was out there at that fire, in California, right? And, he had lost power. They shut off the power. PG&E shut off the power to his house. He was transitioning over to something he had set up that was battery powered, but he died trying to do it. Wasn't fast enough, and he had it right there. So anyways, I don't know. Jay, did you get back? I'm about to check these out here. So I done missed everybody's comment ever. Hold tight. I will move this over to here. Just trying to check this out. I went on a rant, I guess. I was asking y'all for intel, and I went on a rant. So that's me. That's what I do. Yeah, Matt Mendez, what's up? Yeah, we're good. I see Cali is closed. No shit. Whew. Pardon my French, but man, that's crazy. Cali's closed. So does that mean, Icon, does that mean that you can't drive a truck into Cali, or does that mean that the people from there ain't working? I mean, you said they closed. I believe you. That means like they done closed it. What the hell? Jesus. Okay. So are the supplies to the grocery stores? Okay. The supplies to the grocery stores are being tore up because they know that there's a storm on the horizon. They know that truckers, we're old and we're wore out and we know nothing but trucking, people. That's where we're at. We're in pretty good shape for the shape we're in, but we can't handle losing 20% lung function, being on a ventilator, being held up from working at all. Because look, if we get sick, even if it takes us as long as that healthy nurse, 40-something days, I'm going to ask you the question, okay? What's going to happen when all the truckers get sick for 40-something days and can't none of us work? What's going to happen is the whole nation's going to starve. The nation and in the world, because we send it everywhere. People there are not working, but trucks can still go. Unloading is going to be a problem. Yeah, right. And there's never freight coming out of there. There's always you bounce back and forth. So if the places bounce back and forth, that's going to be the Hotel California, ain't it? People going to go there, but you can never leave because there's no freight coming out. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, that's what's going to happen, Icon. People are going to take a good paying load to California and think, ooh, I got lots of miles. And they ain't going to be able to get out, which is normal. But then they're going to think they could bounce back and forth for a week or so until they find a load coming all the way out. Nothing. So, yeah, don't go there. I got you. Don't go to California. You heard it from Icon. And that's why I'm needing people to bring their intel. This ain't on the news, people. You're not going to see this on, Fox 7, 17, 45, stick to the Midwest. Man, I'm not even trying to go that far. I'm going to bounce back and forth like a ping pong, short as possible, full of fuel. Can't afford to be stuck middle of nowhere. Say that you have stocked up, right? and your house, you got plenty of food, toilet paper, but then you get in your truck and you go leave it and you got nothing to keep you alive. Brother, I ain't doing it. I ain't doing it for nobody. I can't. Nobody can. We can't afford to do that. And we're all reining in our trip, like pulling on the leash so that we're running a shorter trip. But y'all go ahead and make comments. You make the show, man. I want to know what's happening. You know, I know you done heard more stuff. I've got links that I could put up on ABC and this and that. Wyon, freaking China News. And like I said, they've figured out since they've cut off, I think it was 20 something million people's cell phones in China, but everybody uses them for an app over there that tracks them. And there's a social credit score they have to go with all the time. They would never, ever cut their phone off, and they would keep the same phone, keep the same number, whatever. And they closed something like 21 million accounts. That's how many people died. That's the truth. And they're even saying it on that video. That's why I did that last live I did. So, yeah, and even the most conservative have figured out that China's lying enough to the tune of 80,000 people dead. But they've figured out that they're burning them in the crematorium. But there's so many. There's so many. They didn't start putting them in the bag before they're dead. There was that woman who was saying that they did that to quite a few of them. Put them in a box-like device. I'd like to know what the hell kind of device it is. It makes it sound like a war thing that they're going to send over something. And that's next too. That's the next shoe to drop. I'm just telling you, everybody I know that's got common sense about them, that can, see the writing on the wall and understand what it says. Okay, you got to have eyes to look and ears to hear. Everybody I'm talking to that has got previous military experience, has got a head on their shoulders, doesn't matter. They're telling me the same thing that I'm thinking. And that is, they're all looking up every morning to see if there's stuff falling out the sky to hit us all. Because for real, they're all thinking that the other shoe's going to drop. This seems preemptive as anything. They're going to wait for our worst moment when we've got, too many dead to be buried. We're all messed up, that they would do something like that. I'm telling you that I just foresee it happening, and I don't want it to, but it's just what I'm seeing coming, and I'm worried about it. 109 infected in Oklahoma. Yeah, there's probably a lot more than that. Those are just the ones that's tested. When they actually can get a test out to everybody. Well, here's the thing too. This is my magical question. I got a magical question. It's this. If it's so hard to get tested and then you test negative, my question is this. What happens if you later think you have it? How hard is it to get a second test? Like, are they going to give you a hard time? Say, oh, you've already been tested once, right? China's got some kind of new math. It very well rivals that Common Core garbage that doesn't make 2 and 2 equal 4 anymore, because they see somebody in front of them, they whatever, but they don't add them to the numbers. It's crazy. Oh, they got no new cases. Yeah, it's because they're not writing them down. And they punish people if they say anything. I'm drinking a Coca-Cola. Yeah, so I'm going to choke down a salad, no pun intended, because for real, this shit just ain't funny no more. But hey, if I start coughing, it's because I'm tearing up a salad, not because I'm all coronaed up, even though they want us to be. And that's another thing. England has decided, and even our people over here think it's nuts, but we're acting like it's an idea or something. But England has decided to go ahead and let people slowly get this thing so that it creates herd immunity. I'm like, that's crazy, because people are going to die trying to get your herd immunity. I'm not trying to be the one to die, right? I'm masking up everywhere too. I don't care what people think. I quit giving a shit 5 minutes ago. If people don't like what I wear and I'm wearing a mask, shoot, I'm going to start calling people out for wigs. That thing's fake. You don't need that. I will, because I'm going to wear a mask. You're not going to tell me I can't wear a mask and goggles. But they haven't been giving me a hard time. One guy was kind of rude. Wanted to act like he was, sneezing and it was fake as hell. Okay, that's cool. It's not that I'm paranoid. I just know I'm protected. That's all. That's all. You can't sit there and get this thing and be dying in a hospital telling people on a video, hey, don't get this, and then people not mask up and be like, well, he don't even know where the hell he got it. I've got to protect myself. That's the problem. There's no testing and nobody knows where the hell they got it. If you can name one person that says, I know for sure where I got it, the only one person I know is that Dr. Lee Wen Lang, and he's dead. Or if that tells you anything. Now, some people that are in the know, some people that think this and that and this and that, they think he was killed. They think that because he was young, that he could have fought it. I think the shit's so bad that it would kill him. I think that it's so bad it'll kill me if I get it. And I'm trying not to get it for that reason. So, understand where I'm at on this. They could be right. I could be wrong. But I'm not. I can't afford to take the chance. I mean, can you afford it? This is worse odds than a casino. I'd rather go into a casino and drop down $5,000 and lose it than to take a gamble on my own damn life and lose. Because you only got one of them. This ain't no video game where you get another chance and they put another man up, right? This is some real ass shit. So what we're dealing with here, whether it's a bioweapon or not, whether you want to believe it or not, it's here and it's killing people. And like I said, when they figure out the death rate and when you can't hide it, because there's people in these towns that are saying, somebody just died in my town, somebody just died in my town. Yeah, it's going to be, you're going to be unable to hide it in the United States. People are on Facebook. What you going to do? Just delete their Facebook account and say, oh, he never existed. Forget you knew him. It's like, no, that's your uncle, or that's your aunt, or that's your, grandfather. Nah, that shit ain't gonna fly. No way. No way we can hide even one person. Even a bum on the street's got somebody cares about him. They just don't know he's there. I'm gonna say that. So even the bum on the street, where they think, oh, nobody cares about him, whatever. I'll tell you what, somewhere somebody does. So they'll find out that he died because he'll be missing for so long that they used to check in. But man, I gotta check these messages here. How do I do this here? Let's see here. Let me go back down. Yeah, y'all dropping all kinds of good links, man. Stick to Midwest. Okay, see, the 109 infected in Oklahoma. There, I read that. Buddy of mine in the manufacturing industry. 2 people tested positive, so they shut the factory down. Now he's at home worried about it. It's crazy. Yeah, tell him he needs to take vitamins, because the only thing you got going for you is getting over 8 hours sleep and taking elderberry, which is one kind of vitamin that's for some reason boosts your immune system to the nth degree, B12, and a multivitamin, and some kind of vitamin C, whether it's Emergen-C, which is like 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C, which is a lot, keeps teachers from getting sick when they're teaching sick students that come in anyway, because the parents just send them anyway. Yeah, and I don't think there's going to be school again. I think everything's going to be online. I think they'll figure that out, these colleges and stuff. But what I was saying is, a good thing too, though, is if you can get vitamin C with rose hips. Rose hips. Nostradamus used the hips of the rose to wrap and make it the petals to make it into a pill, but he used the rose hips, which is a different. It's a thing that grows on the rose plant, almost like a fruit, I guess, or whatever. Rose hips, and somehow it's got a high amount, I think, of vitamin C. But if you get vitamin C with rose hips, it tastes like crap. It's chalky as hell. Just swallow it, drink water behind it, and be done with it. Those rose hips are good for you too. So if you do all that, I put my winning lineup. I'll try to put a link up. I ain't saying I know everything, but I'm saying that, and also for your heart, because they say people who have any kind of a high blood pressure, they say you're in a high risk of dying of this. Okay. So you can take fish oil, because fish oil is what gets people off of heart medication. Okay. And you could take it and it'll get you regular, where you won't even need heart medication, or if you're taking it, you'll stop taking it, or you'll start taking less, and then you get weaned off of it. It'll make you healthier. So I put that in the win lineup too. And I'm going to say this too. Let me go on and get into this too. Hand sanitizer. People are trying to make little bitty bottles of hand sanitizer by mixing what I talked about using. Okay, it's what works, but there's a problem. If you take peroxide out of that special brown colored bottle, daylight gets to it and it loses its ability to work, people. If you take alcohol out of its container, it might evaporate out. And you have to have 60% volume, alcohol by volume, 60% alcohol. So if you start with something that's 60% alcohol and you only got half of it in a bottle, that's 30% alcohol by volume. The only way to do it is to get a bottle of 180 proof Golden Grain or that stuff Everclear and mix that, or a bottle of 90% alcohol and just get it just right. Look, don't take a chance with trying to make something into a little bottle. Do what I said. Wash your hands first with soap, because the soap somehow washes away, just the movement and the agitation washes stuff away, but also the water. But the soap breaks down the outer shell of any virus, the outer casing of it. It softens it or makes it whatever. And then if you, after that, wash your hands with straight up alcohol and then let the alcohol dry. Hold your hands up and let them dry. You ever seen the doctors in MASH or whatever hold their arms up and their hands up in the air? They're waiting for the alcohol and all the cleaner to dry. They want it to give it time, to give the alcohol time, the sanitizer, whatever they're using. Give it time to do its job. Then when it's dry, it'll take a few minutes, okay? Maybe to give you less reason to go to that Walmart, right? If it takes you forever to do this. But hear what I'm saying. Wash your hands with Dawn dishwashing liquid or any kind of dishwashing liquid like that and water. I put it in a bottle. I go ahead and put it in a water bottle, put some Dawn in there, poke a hole in the top cap with my knife, and I spray it on myself, on my hands. And I wash them good. Then I rinse them a little. But then I put alcohol on my hands and I hold them up and I wait. When that alcohol dries, then I pour peroxide on my hands. You're not trying to get a certain percentage. You're getting 100% alcohol, 100% or whatever the percentage is, 90% alcohol, and then 3% hydrogen peroxide, because it's always like 3%, maybe 5%. Anything more than that, burn through your skin. Pure peroxide, like you pull in a tanker, that's evil. So don't be trying to make bottles. You'd have to have a colored bottle too to keep the peroxide good. Don't be trying to make your own hand sanitizer. Just don't. Just do what I said. Use the full bottle of each. Go through the process and make a contact tree, and maybe you'll feel like, hey, I don't need to go there so often. It's a pain in the ass washing my hands, right? Go to Walmart when you need to, as you need to. But I don't know. I got off into a rant here. Like I said, I'm gonna check these links here. And the guy about the guy, your buddy of mine in the manufacturing industry, 2 people tested and all that. There was a guy who just recently passed away, and it was one of the major airline manufacturers, and I don't want to call out the wrong name because one of them always competes with the other, and then I'll piss them both off at me. I don't know. But his brother was saying a while back, y'all need to shut it down because he's sick with this, and they didn't listen to him. So I don't know what's up with that. You might have like a whole crew of them go out because, in a few weeks when it hits them, it takes a long time for this to hit them. Yeah, and there's that coronavirus map. That's good. What's scary is I have a family member that works at pharmacy and worked a long time, bring it home. Yeah, pharmacies and nurses and all that, the people, they're just right there. They present themselves, Let's see, I've also heard get a Q-tip, Devin, and Listerine. There's not enough alcohol in Listerine. It has to be 60% by volume to kill it of alcohol. There's not enough. And if you use something that's like 80 proof is only 40% alcohol by volume, like a liquor. So that's no good. You'd have to go all the way to Golden Grain, and that's useless just by rubbing alcohol, by peroxide. Don't try to make some magical potion and make snake oil out of it. Just do what I'm saying. Do it a process. First you wash, then you sanitize with alcohol. Then after that dries, you sanitize with peroxide. After that dries, you go about your day. Because peroxide, in the end result, peroxide melts that stuff. Kills it. If you have nothing else, peroxide is money. It's only 88 cents a bottle though. I've been using the same bottle of peroxide forever, but I've always talked about alcohol. You can look back, I've kept it because I'm going to have a tourniquet, I'm going to have my medical bag, and I'm going to have alcohol. But you don't use alcohol so much on wounds, but alcohol does a lot. You put it in your windshield washer fluid. You can see all the videos I put up on that stuff. So, but hold on tight here. On that pharmacy, Q-tip, dabbing, Listerine. But yeah, no, that would be nasty. Listerine in your nose, I wouldn't even tell people to do that. So yeah, so people, let me know if you know of any other places. I'm gonna finish up this salad. I ain't lying to you, and we're just gonna let y'all make comments for a bit, and then I'm gonna get off this thing. So let me know of any other states or anything you've heard about certain businesses in your area being closed, or in different states or whatever, that's going to affect trucking. It's going to affect people getting what they need on the shelves at the stores. Because if they turn everything federal for groceries, not everybody's going to be working for them. They're still going to be working for companies, and that's going to be a lot of out of work truckers. And then when it comes back, if those truckers had got sick, we're going to see how this ends up. It's all up in the air right now. But if this virus is with us forever, and I know it's going to be in the water supply, I already explained that. I know it's going to be, something that we can't afford to get, and it might kill 20% of lung function, They'll be giving us physicals. Well, it'll probably kill people, because there's a lot of truckers that already get a waiver to do or whatever, but they take a physical, but they don't give you like a 2-year physical. They give you, like, for high blood pressure or whatever your problem is, or diabetes, they'll give you like a 6-month physical or something, right? If you already got that problem, you may not live through this. But even if you do, it might even make it harder for you. They might give you a 3-month physical. Who knows? High blood pressure, whatever, heart problems, Let's see here. Trump was talking about everything opening back up, everything back in 3 weeks. Well, here's what's going to happen. That will be exactly what England did. And that's why I said, if we're not doing what England did, why are we doing shit that looks a whole lot like what England did? Which is, they expect to get herd immunity. Some people will die, some people live, whatever. No, that's not good. I mean, I don't know if this magical mystery drug that he's got works. Then I don't know. No, man. All it is it's a generic drug that was used for malaria. Nobody wanted to take it anyway. But if it'll save you, But I mean, at what point do you take it? Do you take it after you've already lost 20% of your lung function? And you ain't created no antibodies, and this thing changes, so it's a whole different one, just like the flu. But it's not the flu. So you'll be fighting your second disease. After that, you'll get the second disease that you have no immunity to, because it's a different strain. Just like every year they have to have a flu A and a flu B strain. What they call it's called a vaccine, but the problem is, if it only protects you from one or the other or both, and the way they test it is, if it creates antibodies, they say it works, even if it winds up giving you the full-blown flu. A lot of people, it was too strong of a dose, and they got the full-blown flu because it's supposed to be a dead agent in it. It was a living agent in it, So I'm on either side, for people that want to be anti-vaxxers or whatever. I get where you're coming from. The other people, I get where you're coming from. But when you look at it, it's just like when Doctors Without Borders went over there and they gave a bunch of medicine to babies that were emaciated, which means their stomach was sticking out even though they were starving. It makes them swell up. They were weak. They gave them a weakened strain of something, and it killed them. So for real, there's going to be people that can't handle it, And clinical testing is important, and it takes a long time to figure out. Even then, even if one person died, that's not good from the medicine. Sometimes medicine, is worse than the cure. I mean, the cure is worse than the disease. Well, at this point, I think anything would be better than the disease, but you can't just do anything and say, well, instead of dying today, I'm going to die in 2 months. That's not smart either. But yeah, y'all let me know what's going on in your state, and then I'm gonna get off this thing. We'll drop this like that. And if you know anything, put it in the comments. I still didn't approve comments from last night because I had a problem with my power inverter. I'm gonna plug it up, see if I can get the box fired up, and I'll approve comments. So I said I was gonna do that. Sorry I didn't do that yet. I had a technical difficulty. You know, my computer got a coronavirus, right? Yeah, I'll tell you how I'm disinfecting my groceries. Let me tell you that. I'm taking peroxide and I'm taking a wash rag that's dry. I'm soaking it in peroxide and I'm wiping down the canned goods, wiping down the boxes. It doesn't seem to affect cardboard and it kills it. Yeah, right on that. Well, in a truck, it's a little difficult. A little difficult to leave your shoes outside, but that's the whole point, though, and I think that's why they came up with screen doors and glass doors or whatever in the first place, is so old people don't get confronted by the mailman. They said that absolutely. They know for sure that the Spanish flu, people caught it from the mailman bringing it house to house because of the fact that they didn't go nowhere, they didn't see nobody else, and they know it was him. So, if the shit don't fit in your mailbox, don't order it. I'm just saying it. Don't buy it. Amazon it up when all this is done. But get your toilet paper, I guess, because people are air freighting that stuff. It's a good way to get it so you don't have to go into the big box store. Now, here's the problem with Walmart. They've never been good for air conditioning. You can ask their employees. It's like, man, it's hot in here. There's no air. They don't hardly turn it on. There's no air circulation. It's a big Corona box. I'm not trying to go in there much. I go in there masked up and I get out. I get in, I've got a list, I stick to the list and get out fast as possible, as if your life depended on it, because it kind of does now. So there's that. They need better ventilation in the place anyway. Yeah, you'd be good for a while, 120. That's a lot of toilet paper. Yeah, I think though, maybe the reason they're talking about opening up, and letting people back to work sooner is because they realize they can't afford just to print a bunch of money and send it all out like we were a communist government if we're not making anything. I don't know. But yeah, it's getting crazy. Home Depot's got cones out where it's like, and they'll make an announcement, social distancing and all this stuff, right? There's still idiots that walk right up to you when you're trying to check out and you're trying to get out of there. But I ain't worried about it. I'm masked up, and I'm putting my mask in a Ziploc bag because they said that that's what they're having nurses do. So if you have a mask, an N95, you can reuse it. What I'm doing is I'm putting it in a Ziploc bag and I'm soaking a rag in alcohol and put it in there. But then when I bring it out, you can't just put it on your face because it'll about knock you out. I'm sitting there swinging around in a circle to get it to I'd say, cool off. Yeah, it's pretty hot with alcohol, but let the alcohol evaporate. But I'm not putting the alcohol directly on it, but the fumes get into it. And it would probably knock you out putting it mess on. So it takes me probably 15 to 20 minutes. It's a whole process just to get ready. You won't want to go to Walmart if you do it all right. A bandana, anything will help. Anything will help. Because it's like nuclear. The amount that you have a viral load that you inhale is directly proportionate to how sick you get from it, simply because you have no immunity. Yeah. Gas masks, they work until you can't breathe, really. once you activate the charcoal, I don't know if it's a few weeks, maybe a month, but that could get expensive. That's one way of filtering stuff. And you got to shave. You got to make sure you got a good sealer on your face. I've got this other breather one, and then I've got the other one with a check valve. It's just hard to get them now. Paint supply stores should get them in, and they're making them, evidently. They say they are, but they're like, oh, we're going to give them to the medical staff. Man, they need to give them to the people on the street, or they're going to bring it in to the medical staff. One directly relates to the other. We need masks on the street. We need to look like China. And everybody that looks at me in a mask like, hey, man, where'd you get that? And I wish I could tell them I could get more. I bought them before all this really went down. The other one that I had was from Tankin. It's how I knew about the problem. I was like, man, if this pops off, yeah, you just kind of had to get them. So now there's even some fake ones on the street. There's fake tests out there people trying to make money off of. They caught a whole container or truckload of them or something. They were fake. They looked real, but they weren't. I don't know, man. Everything's turned into a scam about this. I'm going to kill this light. Let's see. Against the law in China not to wear masks. Yeah, and see, and that's, if they are stopping the spread, which first they had them travel everywhere and give it to everybody and eat them all in a big banquet, eat all together and all that stuff, and they all got it, then they want to wear masks. But if they're wearing it and that's how they're stopping it, as bad as they let it go in the first place for 2 months without telling nobody, and if it solved the problem, yeah, masks work, just like walls work, right? Evidently that wall's doing a good job now, isn't it? They closed up Mexico. You know, so it's helping for them to regulate that. They don't want to admit that. None of the Democrats won't even talk about that wall. They don't want to talk about that wall. It's doing a good job right now. I do need that light, man. So anyhow, yeah, just put your thoughts up, man. I'm rabbiting out. I'm over here eating like a salad. I'm gonna tear up a chicken. They started doing the chicken different too at Walmart. They put that stuff, instead of it being in a container where it's top and bottom, it's in a bag, and they seal the top of it. So it comes out of a hot oven thing. They put it in this bag, and it is sealed the top of it. So I dig it, because that way you ain't got to dump the water out and all this stuff. Chicken in a bag, lemon pepper, $4.50. You know, cheap, good food. So that, and I bought a head of lettuce, washed it off, broke it up. I knew I was in trouble when a 30-year-old doctor died. But yeah, I was saying they should have stopped the airline travel from state to state. It's like, there's technology. People can call each other, set up some kind of video conference, probably cheaper than flying airplanes, instead of being like all ritzy about it. Now, I understand they want to keep the airlines afloat and in business, and that's a critical thing for our national security and for businesses and all. Great. But putting people on them is just spreading the virus, you know? And they got a lot of people that's riding single passenger on a full plane, a lot of them. It's like one person on the whole plane. It's like, oh, I'm going here. Take me there, pilot. One person on the plane. And normally it's 300. So they just, you know, what's it doing anyway? You know? So I don't know. Maybe they need to make it mandatory mask up before you go in there. They could seal you up in a helmet. You'd be looking like you Top Gun. I mean, if you're going to be on an airplane, what's wrong with doing that, right? Yeah, yeah, and it's okay. Listen, that's what I had to get my mind wrapped around too, because there was this one guy that talked about it. He explained it best he could that it's like it's like if you got some people, they just have a hard time coming to reason with it. It's not that they're not intelligent. It's just everybody has got a different ability to come to reason with taking on this flood of information and knowledge that we're all putting out that says this is a life or death thing and you should know about it. And they're like, that's not normal. I can't assimilate that into my normal life, so I don't accept it. Can't deal with that. I got better things to do. And you wind up with a bunch of spring breakers on the beach. It is what it is. People are going to die. There are people that are not going to make it out of this thing. And then there's people that, come around, and then there's people that, like I said, some of it's going to be uncontrollable. And if they come up with that medicine and can get it out before, like, it needs to be in the hospital right away. So if you think you got this, by the way, too, that's the trick. If you can't get tested and they won't test you, you go in there and if you have a stomach problem with it, because some people are, if they do the CT scan, tell them to do it a little bit higher and get the bottom of your lungs, because that's where the stuff's at. And they'll be like, oh my God, and they can see it. And that's a way to test for this thing. Also, if you lose your sense of taste, if you can't taste something or smell, it's your sense of smell mostly, but sense of smell and taste. If you lose your sense of smell and taste, that's something that should be a red flag. You might have it, okay? Because that's a weird thing. Also, if you've got headaches and dizziness and disorientation when you wake up and you don't have the strength to move around, your head is so heavy you can't pick it up, that kind of stuff going on, and your breath is, if your breath is labored. I did that video yesterday, like I said, and showing stuff that people had put up and that I'd shared on Twitter. You got to see it really to understand what these people are going through. And one guy talks about all the symptoms. We need more people doing vlogs telling us what the symptoms are, because all these symptoms, because it's a new virus, completely new, novel, that's what they call it, and it's bad and it's deadly. We need to know the symptoms so you can, as soon as you can, get to the hospital and try to get them to order that medicine. But a lot of them ain't testing. So like I said, that's the trick. Get them to do a CT scan. Say, hey, can you CT scan me? They'll say, yeah, we could do that. It's like an MRI, which is magnetic resonance imaging. Only CT is a little different, but it will show your lungs will be like bad. And the doctors that are talking about it, they're like, oh my God, I've never seen lungs like this. It's because this new disease, it makes it a jelly. It's not even a fluid on your lungs. It's a jelly on your lungs, and you can't get that out. So, man, just don't get it, people. Social distancing, mask up. If you can't mask up, check out. Don't be a part of the whole situation, of day-to-day hustle and bustle. Get out of it. They're telling old people to stay home and have other people go grocery shopping for them, because they know they're going to die if they get it. Also, in every epidemic ever that is involved, like a pandemic, they have said that pregnant women have a high mortality rate. They all die. There is a situation right now where, okay, there was a video that I put up that was an old woman talking about the 1918 flu that said that her mom and dad helped take care of people, but the problem was that her aunt was pregnant, and she said, of course, she died. She said, but nobody we knew that was pregnant didn't die. They all died. It's got a high mortality rate. For some reason, your immune system is compromised if you're pregnant. This is a deadly disease, especially to pregnant women. Like, no joke. All pandemics that are like this are. The 1918 flu, they got people that talk about it. Like I said, I could drop a link to that video. It's not me saying it. It's the old woman saying it. It's just the truth. And any doctor will tell you the same. They'll say, oh, yeah, pregnant women got to watch out. Well, watching out and oh, I feel vigilant, and oh, I'm feeling good, and oh, I'm going to keep the level down, and we're going to hold hands. That does nothing to change the fact that it's deadly to pregnant women. Stay away from everybody. Your contact tree is your contact, but then everybody they had contact with too, and then everybody they had contact with, and everybody they had contact with, right? So it's deadly. So keep a contact tree and keep it at 0. You and your television, right? Or maybe your computer, whatever you're watching this with. That's what you need to have contact with. And clean that too. Don't even trust your television. Clean that thing with Windex. Get that mess off the thing, you know? Or your phone. My phone has never been cleaner. I've cleaned this thing with, I put Windex and alcohol together in a bottle. My phone's never been cleaner. This thing's sanitized. I could probably eat off of it. But I don't take it out of my pocket in stores either. I put my list on a piece of paper and I throw it away when I'm done. So my phone stays in my pocket and it stays sanitized. And then I get it out and I clean it with Windex and alcohol anyway. So, by the way, too, keep this in mind, people. This should be self-explanatory. But if you can't get toilet paper where you're at, buy napkins. Buy rolled paper towels. I went to the store. I could buy toilet paper, but they were out of rolled paper towels because everybody's sanitizing, right? Okay, fine. I'll go back in a day. I'll go when there's no toilet paper and they got paper towels. You know, get it while you can, because we can replenish the stores now. But when the truck drivers either die of this or get sick of this, nobody can bring you what you need. And everything you need is made in a country far away, is what you need to think. Even though the paper towels is in a couple of states over, country far away if you ain't got a trucker. It could be a land far away. Let's see. Exactly. Okay. Well, with that, that's getting kind of crazy. I'm going to get off this thing. People, y'all stay safe. I thought that I would give an open position or an open video, and if anybody wants to make comments, like I said, I've got to get my laptop on and get in there and approve comments so that you can, and maybe unlock this one. So if you know of states, just keep adding it to this, and then I'm watching the internet like a hawk as much as I can. I didn't know California was shut down. I did hear about Illinois doing some weird stuff. And, you know, a lot of these places are shutting down restaurants, but not their drive-through. Some of the restaurants I've tried to call are closed up. It's like 3 different hot wing places closed up. What's up with that? That's like a staple. Man, if you can't give me chicken, that's what I'm saying. That's why I want Walmart. I wanted hot wings. They didn't. Everybody's closed all day. So I'm like, Walmart chicken, you know, whatever. Throw some hot sauce on it and pretend you got some hot wings, right? So we're going to pretend that we got a lot of stuff pretty soon. Borders need to stay closed and definitely keep the foreigners out. Yeah, well, you know, I'm with you, but here's the problem. A lot of those migrant workers that they just shut down needed to go and actually plant fields and work in on farms and stuff, and they've got some issues where they're going to need them to harvest too. And so if you don't have farmers that have that help or some help, and there's no help, we'll have no crops. Then we'll have no food, and we already got a problem with our food supply, whether you know it or not, whether people want to admit it or not. Check out the Ice Age Farmer. I'll put up a link to his last video. Everybody's telling it how it is. I'm talking to people just that grow hay. You know, now other people grow corn and stuff, but it's the same thing. Some people were leaving the corn over the winter to try to see if that would grow, and then they had to plant late. Some people just tilled it up and planted, but then or they couldn't plant because of flooding. You know, importing produce from Mexico. Well, Mexico's border is shut down right now. That's one problem. The second problem is I don't think they grow a whole lot in the desert. I know that they probably have nurseries, because you can have a nursery anywhere. You can have, I built a greenhouse. And it can look like crap. Let me tell you something too, people. When you're growing your garden, don't try to think that you have to be a poster house or child or whatever for Better Homes and Gardens. Forget what you've read in magazines. Forget what you've seen on TV. The plant don't care. All you need is deep topsoil, 2 bags of topsoil, 1 bag of manure, raised gardening, build it up with rocks, or don't use pressure treated wood, but you can use wood and make a form, put down some newspaper and then throw the dirt in there. It might cost you something to fill it up, but I'm just saying, the one thing you don't have to necessarily have potting soil for is radishes. The quickest things you can grow is radishes. Tomatoes take a good amount of days. They're up in like 40 days and stuff, but radishes is like 20 something days. Oh man, what is the quick stuff to grow? I put a list up. I'll put it as a comment whenever I'm done with this video, I guess, because there's a list of stuff I'm growing. But man, what's the other quick one? It slipped my mind. The point is this though: if you have a garage, put the plants in your garage and leave the windows open and put it by the window. It keeps it warm. It's about keeping these baby plants warm until that last frost comes through. I think we're done with our last frost. We're going to see what happens. But before I put them out even into that makeshift greenhouse thing I made that's not that warm and that's not sealed up, because people put heaters in their greenhouses, okay? I'm just like, put it in the garage and then transfer it to this makeshift, really quick pressed into service greenhouse I built. And it ain't got to be perfect. It could have hay on the floor. It ain't gonna be Cheryl's she shed. You ain't gonna worry about it burning down. You burn that down, you be like, oh, I can make another one of them out of some pallets. It don't really matter. You could put 3 pallets together and put a roof pallet on it and put some plastic on it and call that, slide a tote under there and call that your greenhouse. It don't have to be pretty. You're just trying to make baby plants grow till they're happy, till you can get them in the ground. They're gonna be in the dirt, or leave them in the greenhouse the whole time. Man, I got lettuce growing. I'm tempted to keep a lettuce plant in my truck. I'll tell you why. That doctor or the nurse that was affected by this, was her husband said that the plants were dying and he couldn't keep them alive. I wonder if the virus affects plants. I think it kills plants. So keeping that in mind, I'm thinking about keeping a lettuce plant in my truck, to like a canary in a coal mine, to let me know if something might be not right. If the plant starts dying, I can't keep it alive, right? Might be a problem. So, but I'm gonna finish up this salad. People, I'm gonna get off this thing. You may comment if you want, and then I'm gonna close it down. But appreciate you showing up. And yeah, if you hear about any states, make a comment on here or any of my other videos or whatever. I've got to open up for comments. I'm gonna make this one open, and then I'll do another live when I can. I ran out of daylight. I was working on other stuff, I got to plug up that power inverter. So, could use the big one. Ain't figured it out yet. Oh, I've seen a question mark in them. Depression. You want my honest to God answer? If all of the truck drivers get sick, this country doesn't stand a snowball's chance in hell of surviving. Because the government a long time ago said to all the children that were growing up on farms, go ahead and leave the farm. Come to the city. Get you a job. Come on out here. Come to. No one was there to keep that farm. They got a good paying job. They think they're doing good. They're riding in a car. The parents died and either lost the farm, or they didn't have help and lost the farm, or they just sold the farm when the parents died. Oh, I don't want to run a farm. Well, if you're not growing food in your backyard right now, if you haven't turned into a farmer, I'll tell you what, people, you might starve. I ain't lied to you. Now, the government's got a way of, putting out ice water and MREs, but there's only so many MREs, meals ready to eat. And I don't know if they would press the military into driving 18-wheelers down the road I would say that that's what probably would happen. If all the truckers died today or got sick and couldn't work, either way, same thing, for 50 days or whatever, the military would have to haul those loads, is the only thing I can think of. And I don't know if they would haul it to their own depots or how. It would be weird. An interaction between the military and the private sector would be weird. So, yeah, well, we're going to have to put some trust in them because they're the ones that's holding the keys right now and locking it down. Y'all stay safe. I'm going to get off this thing. If you know something I don't, let me know. I'm out. I'm getting off this thing. Okay? I'm out. Peace. Oh, I will say that. You asked a question. I just saw it come up. Do you think we'll go into martial law? Well, there's going to be some weird stuff happen. I don't think it'll be martial law, but they're going to be letting people out of jails because they're going to say it's too easy for it to spread and it's inhumane, and they already made Iran do it, so they're also going to make themselves do it. There's going to be people who maybe some of them should be in jail, and so they're going to be roaming the streets, and it might be a situation where you might be defending your house. I would highly suggest that you build a fort out of where you're at. You can get sensors at Harbor Freight that you set one sensor outside and it beeps the one where you're at. When cars come up or people come up, maybe get you a German Shepherd. Maybe what I mean, that's another mouth to feed, though. That's part of that problem. I'll tell you, people, it could be dangerous times pretty soon. I would honestly say that you're going to need to defend what you have if other people want it. Apartment security. See, I ain't trying to scare nobody, but first thing I was thinking in my head, there's no such thing. A long time ago, I lived in an apartment and I put a deadbolt in there. You can have the maintenance man install a deadbolt if you buy a deadbolt. Can't have sensors in an apartment? Yes, you can. These just sit there. It's in a box. One is the sensor, the other is the tattletale for it. And you just set it there, or you put a screw in and it mounts into that screw to hold it to the wall, or you could put 3M tape and stick it there on the outside. Now, the thing is, it'll light up a red light and let them know. They'll see it when they've been caught, but it will let you know inside, hey, somebody's there. So, yeah, you can absolutely have sensors. You can even put it close to your doorknob. Somebody reaches for your doorknob, it would sense that. Talk to your maintenance guy. Slide him $5 and say, this is what I want to do. Here's your $5. Help me do it. I'm sure he'd be more than likely, he would be glad to help you. And he just made a quick $5, you know. But as far as the deadbolt, they might charge you to install it. But the trick with a apartment, you don't have to worry about somebody breaking an apartment. They honestly, truthfully, they would want to break in when you're not there. If you're there, they know that everybody's in the apartments, and everybody would get up and open their door and see what the hell's going on. So when you're in a situation where it's quarantine and everybody's in their apartment, ain't nobody trying to break into nothing, because you think about it for a second, you know, they wouldn't. But one thing that helps in an apartment is this, and I bought one. There's a brass metal piece that goes around the outside of the door that the doorknob and the deadbolt go through, and it strengthens the door and it makes it harder to kick in. Then also you need to put 3.5-inch screws in the hinges instead of little bitty screws. Those longer screws make it so you can't kick out down a door. It's been proven. They've done studies on that. So got a whole arsenal if that pops off a plane. Yeah, you know, you got to have a little something, you know, and it's your right, Second Amendment, to defend yourself. But that's the trick. There's a sign for Ranger Joe's, rangerjoes.com, hoo-ah, right? rangerjoes.com. There's a sign that they put up, a billboard. It's got a scope. It's got a guy in a ghillie suit behind that scope. And it's got a bunch of brush and trees, and you can barely tell what he is. But it says on that sign, I saw you first. That's what you want, is the initiative. You want to see them first, or be alerted that they're there by some kind of alarm first. So all you need is one bullet if you see them first. That's all. So I don't advocate violence or do anything like that. If you have to, you have to understand too that there's laws where they have to be across your threshold or this or that, and it's a danger to you. Well, anything though can be good. A table leg, knock them the hell out. Then call the police for pickup. Let's see. Do a live. Yeah, but that brass thing was cool, man. Let me tell you something. I was the only one on the whole row. I was the only one, and they were like, "What did you do? What is that?" And it looked shiny. It was nice and pretty, but what it is, it's a flat piece of brass that, if you make your hand into a C, the letter C, and then you put that door into it, your thumb would be the face, which would be brass all the way from above your doorknob or your deadbolt down to your doorknob. Then the other side would be on the other side, all the way from your deadbolt down to your doorknob, and it would have 2 circle holes in it, made for a doorknob and a deadbolt. You take your doorknob and your deadbolt off, you put that thing in from the side of the door, then you shove them through those holes back where they were and tighten it up, and it makes it so you can't kick in a door, okay? And you can get longer brass plates for the other side, but that don't matter. Mainly it's keeping it so they can't knock that doorknob through the door. And then on the other end is the hinges. You put in 3 to 3.5 inch screws into the hinges. Take the screws out. It's those screws. You can't kick in a door like that. You can see them. There's video. I'll try to find it on YouTube where it says police officers saying, if you put these in here, we can't even kick them in. That's the truth. They're sitting there with a battering ram, beating the hell out of it. They can't get it in. So 3.5 inch screws in your hinges and that brass plate, and you'll be good in an apartment. They ain't getting in there. And then the idea that I was talking about, a sensor from Harbor Freight, is just to give you a heads up ahead of time. It tells you ahead of time that they're out there before they even start trying to mess with your lock or this or that. And then you have the initiative, right? So, and get a peephole. If you ain't got a peephole in your door, tell your maintenance man, drill a hole in that sucker and you'll buy one. It's a peephole. You can look out, you can see people. So, but let's see here. If you find out the name of that part, could you let us know? The name of the part, the brass thing, you'll have to get that at like a Ace Hardware or a Home Depot. They'll tell you what it's a, I don't know what it's called, man. I don't know what it's called, but it's like it's just, all it is flat steel or flat brass that has 2 holes in it on each side, and you put it on the edge of the door. You shove it to the edge of the door, and it covers it up front and back, inside and out, and it has 2 big circle holes for you to put your doorknob and your deadbolt through. That, and the main thing is I killed that. The main thing is to have those 3.5 inch screws there. Let's see here. Let's see here. Can you boil the water to get the virus out? I wish I knew the answer to that question, but I don't think they're going to boil all the water in your county unless that's their new answer. Okay. So, but I am going to get off this thing though, people. Like I said, I'm going to let this ride. You can make the comments that you want. I'll let them through. It'll say by approval only. I've got to get I think I might need a fuse for this thing. I'm gonna get my power inverter so I can get my laptop going. My laptop's got the coronavirus, so I don't. They don't have me corona yet. Y'all take it easy. I'm getting off this thing, y'all. Don't worry, don't sweat it. Plant a garden, plan ahead. And the dude in the apartment, I'll put a link on this video when I can, in the description, maybe in a minute, where there's a couple that farms, and they tell that you could take a bag of topsoil or potting soil mix or whatever, poke a bunch of holes in the bottom of it for drainage, flip it upside down so that's the bottom side, cut the top out of it, and you can put a plastic dome over it, a plastic tote lid over it, and you can make your own little greenhouse, and you can grow some radishes in that. You can grow some stuff that, even if you're in an apartment complex, you could do 4, 5, or 10 of them. But mainly buy cans of tomato sauce. Buy stuff that's already canned too, and then it'll last you until you might could grow something. But can you boil the water to kill the virus? I appreciate it. Yeah. I'm down to the bottom of the comments. I'm out, people. Y'all stay safe. Peace.